For more than 2 decades, NCIS has built its reputation on surprises. From shocking betrayals and heartbreaking deaths to unexpected promotions and dramatic exits, the long-running CBS procedural has mastered the art of keeping viewers guessing. Yet even after all these years, there remains one storytelling weapon that never fails to send the fandom into a frenzy: the unexpected return of a beloved character. Fans have witnessed plenty of memorable comebacks over the years. Some returned for a single episode, while others came back to play major roles in ongoing storylines. Every return carries emotional weight because NCIS has always treated its characters like family. When someone leaves the team, viewers feel the loss, and when someone returns, it often feels like welcoming an old friend home. But among all the names fans speculate about online, there is one character whose return would truly shock the audience. Not because the character wasn't popular, quite the opposite. The shock comes from the fact that most viewers have convinced themselves that this return could never happen. That character is Ziva David. At first glance, the idea might not sound surprising. After all, Ziva has returned before. Her dramatic reappearance after years of being presumed dead became one of the most talked about moments in modern NCIS history. Fans celebrated the reunion, ratings soared, and social media exploded with reactions. However, that's exactly why another return would be so unexpected. The last time audiences saw Ziva, her story appeared complete. She reunited with Tony DiNozzo. She reconnected with her daughter. She finally found peace after years of danger, loss, and sacrifice. Unlike many departing characters whose stories remain unfinished, Ziva's ending felt satisfying. Or did it? The truth is that NCIS has quietly left several doors open. Recent seasons have repeatedly demonstrated that no character is ever truly forgotten. Writers frequently reference former agents. Old cases resurface. Connections from previous storylines continue to influence current events. Even when characters aren't physically present, their legacy remains woven into the fabric of the series. That lingering connection is what keeps speculation alive. Imagine a season-opening episode beginning with a routine investigation. Parker and his team are pursuing what appears to be a straightforward international threat. The evidence leads overseas. Intelligence agencies become involved. The stakes continue to rise. Then comes the twist. A classified file lands on Parker's desk. Inside is a photograph. The room falls silent, because staring back at the team is someone they never expected to see connected to the case. Ziva David, not as a suspect, not as a victim, but as someone who may already be working undercover inside the organization they're trying to stop. Suddenly, everything changes. The team realizes they aren't simply investigating criminals anymore. They're investigating a situation that may involve one of the most legendary agents in NCIS history. For longtime viewers, the emotional impact would be enormous. Ziva wasn't just another agent. She represented one of the most important eras of the series. Her journey from outsider to trusted family member remains one of television's strongest character arcs. She fought alongside Gibbs through some of the show's most defining moments. She developed deep friendships with McGee and Abby, and her relationship with Tony became one of the most beloved slow-burn romances in television history. Because of that history, any return would instantly raise major questions. Why is she back? What danger is she facing? And perhaps most importantly, why didn't she contact her family first? These questions practically write themselves. One possible storyline could involve an international intelligence operation that spirals out of control. Ziva may have accepted a temporary mission believing she could handle it alone. Instead, she discovers a conspiracy far larger than expected. Unable to trust traditional channels, she keeps her involvement secret. Months pass. The mission grows increasingly dangerous. Then a single mistake exposes her presence. That discovery sends shockwaves through NCIS headquarters. Parker suddenly finds himself leading a case connected to legends he never worked alongside. McGee is forced to confront memories from his past. Torres struggles with the realization that he's investigating someone whose reputation shaped the agency long before he arrived. The emotional conflict becomes as important as the mystery itself. What makes this scenario especially compelling is the contrast between generations. The current NCIS team has established its own identity. Parker's leadership style differs dramatically from Gibbs. Torres approaches cases differently than Tony ever did. Knight and Palmer bring their own perspectives to investigations. Introducing Ziva into that environment creates fascinating possibilities. She would instantly command respect. Yet she would also be stepping into a world that has evolved without her. That tension creates drama. Can a legendary former agent adapt to a new team dynamic? Can the current team separate their admiration for her from the realities of the case? And can Ziva herself accept that NCIS has changed? These are exactly the kinds of questions that produce memorable television. Of course, no discussion of Ziva's potential return can avoid mentioning Tony. For years, fans invested emotionally in their relationship. Every glance, every argument, every sacrifice contributed to one of the franchise's most iconic romances. If Ziva returned alone, viewers would immediately wonder where Tony is. Is he safe? Does he know what's happening? Could he be involved in the mission? The writers could use that uncertainty to build suspense across multiple episodes. Perhaps Tony appears unexpectedly halfway through the storyline. Perhaps he's conducting his own investigation. Or perhaps he arrives just in time to help save Ziva when the operation reaches its most dangerous stage. Any of those possibilities would electrify the fan base. Yet the most powerful aspect of a Ziva return wouldn't be action sequences or shocking revelations. It would be emotion. The best NCIS episodes have always balanced procedural storytelling with character-driven moments. Fans remember the cases, but they remember the relationships even more. Imagine McGee seeing Ziva for the first time in years. Imagine the silence. Imagine the disbelief. Then imagine the smile. Moments like that resonate because they acknowledge the history audiences have shared with these characters. Television rarely lasts long enough to create bonds spanning decades. NCIS is one of the few shows that has achieved that milestone. The audience has grown alongside these characters. They have celebrated victories, mourned losses, and watched lives change. That's why an unexpected return carries such power. It's not merely about bringing back a familiar face. It's about reconnecting viewers with memories. Every appearance triggers nostalgia. Every conversation recalls earlier seasons. Every interaction reminds audiences why they fell in love with the show in the first place. And perhaps that's the strongest argument for why Ziva remains the one character fans never truly expect to return. Not because it can't happen, but because her story already feels complete. When characters receive satisfying endings, audiences gradually learn to let go. They accept that the chapter has closed. Then, when the impossible suddenly becomes possible again, the surprise becomes even greater. Whether NCIS ultimately chooses to revisit Ziva's story remains unknown. Television plans change constantly. Cast availability shifts. Creative priorities evolve. But one thing remains certain. If the day ever comes when Ziva David walks back through those doors, millions of fans will be watching. And for a few unforgettable moments, it will feel like NCIS history is being made all over again.